Welcome Internet to the very first DLC Entertainment podcast. I am your host Dave and welcome to the show. And being a new podcast, I am going to take a quick minute just to tell you about this podcast, what to expect from it and a little bit more about me. And first things first, my name is Dave. As I've already said, I am the host of DLC Entertainment. I got my start in this whole entertainment public speaking thing back in March 2014 when I set up my very first YouTube channel. That channel is still going strong. It is called Silent Oblivion 903 and I mainly focus on Let's Plays and similar sort of walkthroughs. I have a big focus on the WWE games and wrestling games as a whole, but I also do a lot of other things such as Legend of Zelda, Resident Evil, Super Mario, stuff like that. And I also have another two channels. I've got another gaming one which is called DLC Gaming, which is an offshoot of DLC Entertainment, and will also be the host of these podcasts over on YouTube. So you can always check them out at a later date if you don't want to watch them, or listen to them rather, through the conventional podcast means. That channel mainly focuses on things like top 10s, sort of previews, looking at certain aspects of gaming, stuff like that. So it's not more your Let's Play, it's more the other side of gaming videos as opposed to Let's Plays. And like I said, I've got a third channel. I have a music channel where I create guitar cover videos. I'm currently writing an album, gear reviews and stuff like that, which is under the name Doodles, which is my music stage name, because every rock star needs a name and Dave does not really cut it. And the fact that I got into music after seeing Slash do the opening riff on Sweet Child of Mine, and seeing him with his Les Paul and his top hat and his cigarette, and just thinking that is the coolest thing in the world. And obviously he has a stage name Slash, so I thought I'd best have one too, and that's where Doodles is from. So, now we've got that out of the way. DLC Entertainment Podcast is going to be focused primarily around gaming. As I said, I've already got my hand in a couple of gaming pots, and this is going to be my next one. And hopefully this is one where I can sort of link all of them together and be more of a central hub where we discuss the topics of the world rather than doing a load of videos. We can discuss things on an episodic basis, whether it's weekly, monthly, however this one turns out. And you can also watch all the stuff on YouTube as well. I'm going to host the podcast in video form on YouTube, on the DLC Gaming YouTube page. And you can also check out my other content on there, which will be separate from this. But as I said, I'm also a musician and I'm also an avid wrestling fan. I've been a big fan of wrestling, particularly WWF/WWE, since 1998. And I've also enjoy watching TNA, Impact Wrestling. I've also enjoyed going back and looking at the WCW stuff before they went bankrupt in 2001 and was bought out by WWE. So I'm going to be focusing on mainly those three topics, although anything entertainment is perfectly acceptable depending on what's going on in the world, but the main focus will always be on games. But I will be titling these podcasts, so you should be able to get an idea. Obviously, if it says, for instance, DLC Entertainment Podcast Episode 13, SummerSlam results or something like that, you know I'm mainly focusing on wrestling on this podcast. So if it's not your thing, obviously you can still check it out, because I will be focusing on other things, and hopefully you are coming to be entertained by me rather than just the content. So you'll be sort of getting an idea of what is on the podcast through the titles, and that should keep things sort of in check. So right, now we're getting into today's show. I'm going to be discussing mainly those three topics just as more of a broad scale of what's going on. I'm sort of going to do a broader show today rather than just choosing one topic. I'm going to be sort of going into details on each, because there's a lot of things happening in all industries of entertainment at the minute. But first things first, I'm going to start talking about the world of gaming. And right, it is the weekend. It is currently Saturday the 13th, which means E3 starts tomorrow. Whether the podcast is live by then, I'm not totally sure, and chances are, being a new podcast, you won't watch it until a later date. But E3, at the time of recording, starts tomorrow. That is the biggest gaming event of the year, the biggest gaming expo, where the world will finally see all of the new gadgets, all of the new games, all of the new technology that we are going to get our hands on over the coming year. So, like I said, it starts tomorrow and it kicks off with a bang with the Nintendo World Championships, which is being hosted tomorrow, and you can watch it live on Twitch. And the Nintendo World Championships is being hosted for the first time since 1990, so it's been 25 years since the world has seen the NWC, which is really, really cool. It was really popular for a few years back in the late 80s and obviously up to 1990. So it's going to be quite interesting. Hopefully, if I get a chance, I'll be able to check it out and see what it was all about, because I wasn't born till 1990, so I missed out on all of that back in the day. Also tomorrow, apart from the Nintendo World Championships, Bethesda, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but you'll know the name anyway. It is the creators behind Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom and many other franchises. They are also doing their showcase tomorrow, and as I've already mentioned, those three names are expected to crop up earlier this month. I think it wasn't that long ago. Fallout 4 was finally revealed to the public. The world has been waiting for this for so long, and it has finally come out. Fallout 4 is happening, so expect a massive reveal tomorrow afternoon from them. Also, Elder Scrolls Online has been generally well received and has just came out on the next generation consoles, like Xbox One and PS4. So expect to see a lot of stuff regarding that, especially maybe with expansion packs and how the game's going to expand over the coming months and years. And also, Doom is expected to make an appearance. I remember back when I bought Wolfenstein The New Order last year, I got a code for the Doom 4 beta, which has so far been useless. I haven't been able to use it yet. So I'm hoping the Doom 4 beta is announced and the whole thing's revealed and we'll finally know when we're going to play it. I'm really, really excited for that. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out. But moving on from Sunday, obviously we move into Monday, which is where E3 really starts to pick up. On Monday, Microsoft are going to do their showcase, which we can expect to see Halo 5. A lot of you, like me, will have played the beta back last year, the back end of last year, so expect a lot from that. It's going to be Microsoft's biggest game of the year. I think it's due out in October, so definitely keep a close eye on that. It's really looking good, really looking forward to it, and hopefully if a lot of you people get into this and you subscribe, hopefully we can play Halo 5 together if you are an Xbox fan. Also expected to be announced and showcased and all that stuff is Rise of the Tomb Raider, the latest in Lara Croft's journey and whatever she does with herself. Basically the next title in the series Rise of the Tomb Raider is expected to be at E3. And now two of the biggest, not necessarily games, although heavily gaming related, but more hardware and software, is first off the Oculus Rift, the virtual reality headset, which has been doing its rounds on the internet for the past couple of years. If you go over on YouTube, you can see a vast amount of YouTubers using the Oculus Rift headset and trying it out. A lot of companies have been developing from it. It's looking really, really cool. I really dig the concept of virtual reality, although I've never used it as of yet. But when I first saw this, and especially there's another thing, I can't think off the top of my head what it's called, but it's basically like a treadmill, which is basically as you walk, the character walks, as you aim your gun, the gun aims, stuff like that. I can't think what it's called. I'm sure it was backed on Kickstarter, but I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. But basically that's what it is. It's a treadmill. I've seen a guy playing Battlefield on it, where when you crouch, the character crouches, you run, everything is as if you're right there on the battlefield. When I first saw that, I was just completely blown away, because I remember being sort of a kid, possibly 9 or 10 and that, and you used to say to your friends, like, how great could it be in the future as if like virtual reality existed, where you put on a headset and you were in the game, and basically when you turned your head, the character turned its head, you did something, the character did it, and that, and now it's actually becoming real. The headset, like you are in the game, you spin around the circle in your front room, and you could be spinning around in some virtual world, some vast world. You aim a gun up with your, like, you hold a gun in your hand and you aim it up, and your character does too. It's just, this is literally what I fantasized as a kid about. It's finally happening. It's absolutely unreal where technology has finally got us. It's absolutely incredible. I'm really looking forward to this sort of coming to the public, and Oculus Rift and virtual reality just becoming sort of an everyday thing in video games. Absolutely amazing. But the final thing that Microsoft will be showcasing, it's due out later this year, is Windows 10, the new Windows operating system. A big jump from 8.1. If you've got a genuine copy of Windows 7 or 8, you can already sign up for Windows 10 and reserve your place for when it launches. I believe it's at the end of September. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's end of September it launches. So you can reserve your spot and make sure that you get the operating system when it finally lands. It's looking absolutely stunning, absolutely sleek, and I can't wait to see it in action. I can't wait to use it on my own computer. But after Microsoft's hopefully amazing showcase, we're going to move on to EA, which is probably the biggest one out of any of them, or the biggest potential, because recently it was I think it was leaked that Mirror's Edge Catalyst had been registered as a domain, and a copyright basically confirms that a new Mirror's Edge game is in the works. It's highly critically acclaimed. It's got a massive cult following. And I think it might be a prequel to Mirror's Edge. I'm not 100% sure on this one. Not much information has landed so far, but I believe Catalyst is going to be a prequel. It's going to be very interesting to see how it's evolved over the past 6 or 7 years since the original one came out. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on that one, but this next game is one that I am probably going to be glued to my screen about. It's Star Wars Battlefront. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. For any of you that do know me in person and in my personal life, you'll know that I am a massive Star Wars fan. I have been since I was a kid. So I was too late for the original trilogy as I was born in 1990, but I did watch the remastered ones in the late 90s, and I went to see all 3 of them. The prequels in the cinema, with the third one being on release day. It was absolutely fantastic. In the cinema, loads of people dressed as Jedis. Absolutely fantastic. Just seeing those final fights, seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin and Yoda and Darth Sidious on the big screen doing their thing was absolutely incredible. And I was hooked as a fan before them, but I absolutely loved it. And the fact that episode 7 is coming out and I'm going to be able to see it is truly incredible. Something I didn't think I'd actually see. Which, while we're talking about Star Wars, you will have heard that earlier this week the actor Christopher Lee passed away. It's very unfortunate. Christopher Lee played Count Dooku in the prequel trilogy, as well as all his other work over the years. He was 93, he's done a lot of stuff. He's really changed the industry. He's really been a pioneer. He's left a huge legacy. Even in his 90s, creating Christmas metal albums. Absolutely amazing. Truly great guy, and he'll be sadly missed in the world of entertainment. And I'm glad that he made his mark in Star Wars, being Count Dooku. It was an absolutely incredible role. He played it really well, and it's a sad thing for the world of film and entertainment as a whole. But I'm not going to dwell on that too long, because I'm going to get into this next thing. Star Wars Battlefront. It's one of those games got a massive following, a cult following. There's only been 2 of them, the last one being released on the PS2. So for it to come out on these generation, the Xbox One, the PS4, PC, it's absolutely incredible. Really looking forward to it. I really hope EA do it justice and really deliver an absolutely awesome game. I know I keep saying absolutely, but I am so hyped for this one. This is probably the game that when it was revealed, I marked out so much. I remember watching the reveal trailer, and it was a studio trailer where it was showing you them developing it in the studio, and it was just amazing. It was just awe-inspiring. It was just, I really can't wait for this one. This is going to be truly amazing. But that's not all. Need for Speed is coming back to our gaming systems. That's right, folks. Need for Speed is making a return, hopefully this year. And it looks like it is going more in the direction of the Underground games, which is probably the most highly rated Need for Speed games out there. Then Need for Speed Underground 2 is probably the game that I personally love more than any other racing game that has ever been out. I used to love it. I was about 13, 14 at the time. I was into all the Fast and the Furious stuff and all your modded cars. And I was going to have this car. When I got older, I was going to get this car, and it was going to have nitrous oxide in it, and it was going to be dropping. It was going to have LEDs in the bottom. And that was the dream. And then I grew up and realised that it wasn't practical and it was expensive as hell. And now I drive a Peugeot 207. But I'm really looking forward to doing that. If it stays towards the Underground series, I'm really looking forward to playing it. And then one for a lot of you people. It's not so much for me, as I'm not a big fan of the games, but it's probably one of the biggest games out there, and that is FIFA 16. FIFA makes its yearly rounds once again, but this time female players are playable. You can have female teams, which I think is the first for a football game, which is pretty incredible and a huge leap, and it's basically making it the true football game all round. It's going to be completely true to life. Obviously, women's football does exist, and now FIFA are putting that into a game as well, which is incredible and showing how big the game is getting. It's going to be one for a lot of people. Like I said, not so much for me, but it's going to be huge and it's going to sell well and it's going to be amazing. And now one thing, I don't know whether it is confirmed or not, but if it is, it would also be amazing. Like Battlefront, and that is if Mass Effect 4 is revealed. I am a massive Mass Effect fan. I've played all of them, although unfortunately I didn't finish 3. But I love Mass Effect 2. Back when Mass Effect 3 came out, I had so much to play that it sort of got forgotten. But Mass Effect 2 is probably one of my favourite games of all time. I could easily sink another 50 hours into that without hesitation. Truly incredible, and hopefully I will on my Silent Oblivion 903 channel. It is on my to-do list, but with that many games out there, it might get done, it might not. Hopefully it does though. And hopefully if you guys are interested in it, let me know and I might just do that for you guys, especially for my podcast fans. So with EA out the way, we are all going to be ready to call it a day because we're going to be truly exhausted with all that stuff that is going on. But that is not all. We've still got a lot more happening in Monday. Ubisoft are going to unveil more about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the latest in the Assassin's Creed series. Looks really good. I'm really hopeful for this one. Assassin's Creed has sort of been a bit stale recently with a sort of similar engine. They've been producing stunning games, or Black Flag and Unity are all, both amazing games, but I'm waiting for something a bit more from Assassin's Creed. Like I've played the formula, I've played it, I know what happens, I know how the game works. I want them to revolutionise it. I want them to change the game a bit and sort of make it stand out again. To be honest, as much as I like the Creed series, I think it should have been more of a 2 or 3 times a generation, not once a year. Call of Duty, FIFA, those games are okay being once a year. They're fine, it does the job, there's no harm in doing it. It's oversaturated, it would be better, but they're going to do it once a year, that's fine. It's not harming the franchise too much. They've got the sales there, but Assassin's Creed, it's the same thing every year, so I'm really hoping this is going to be different. I'm really hoping they're going to change it up, because Assassin's Creed is story driven. Call of Duty, despite the fact it's got a story, is mainly online play. If you took the online play out of Call of Duty, the franchise would plummet and probably never come out again. Lose all interest if the online feature was dropped out, but Assassin's Creed is a story driven game, so it really needs to do something special to really sort of relight the fire in the series. I'm really hoping Syndicate does that, but time will tell, and I'll be keeping a closer eye on it over the coming months up until release. But also, Tom Clancy, the writer that unfortunately passed away not long ago, is making a return in the video game world with 2 new games. First off, The Division and Rainbow Six Siege. The Rainbow Six franchise, highly acclaimed, highly rated. Not one of my favourite franchises because I'm not any good at ultra realism games. The whole Tom Clancy games are too realistic for me. I'm more of a run and gun kind of guy, and that just doesn't fly in Rainbow Six and the Tom Clancy games. But from what I've seen, they both look amazing, and I'm actually excited to play Rainbow Six Siege, despite the fact I'm not generally very good at them. But hopefully this time I can learn how to play the game and do well on it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Ubisoft have to say on Monday. But last on Monday, Sony are set to do their showcase to close the evening. We're hoping they're going to be revealing the next Ratchet & Clank game. A very popular platformer. It's set to be. It's good. They're going to bring out a new one. It's just what happens. Obviously, it's probably their biggest platform franchises, so expect that. And also, one thing that people are going to be glued to the screen to see, is Uncharted 4. Probably the highest rated sort of franchise on the PlayStation console. The trilogy went down a storm. People absolutely loved them, and it would be stupid for them not to do Uncharted 4. I don't know if it's been announced. I think it might have been. But I think for sure we're going to start seeing stuff come E3. And also The Last of Us 2. It got remastered on the PS4. It was originally a PS3 game. Will we see Last of Us 2? Who knows? I don't know, once again, if it's been announced 100%. But expect the possibility of seeing that on Monday at E3. But right, finally, to top it off, we have Tuesday. The event does run later, but this is where the showcases end. I think it is on Tuesday, the final one, and they're going to do other things throughout the week. Mainly where I think like the industry, the magazines, the websites, and I get to try out all these games and that and report back for their chosen mediums, whether it's websites, YouTube, magazines, etc. So on Tuesday, Nintendo are going to be doing their thing. This is probably the one that I am really looking forward to. Mario Maker is a definite on the list. Mario Maker is set to launch later this year, I believe September. I thought Mario Maker was actually going to be a sort of a £10 eShop game, but it started to go live as a pre-order on most of the gaming websites for full price, up to like $49.99, $59.99 depending where in the world you are. So it's going to be a disc-based full game. I thought it was going to be an eShop £10 sort of NES remix style game, but no, it's going to be the full shebang. And this is probably the game that I'm looking forward to most this year because I'm a huge Mario fan. Mario probably got me into gaming back when I was a child on the SNES. So to be able to create your own Mario levels is absolutely amazing. And something I've been really looking forward to do for years and something I've dreamed about doing for years. Now it's becoming a reality. If you go over at my DLC gaming page on YouTube, I've got a video there. The first video that went up on that channel is about Mario Maker. And it shows how hyped I am. It's sort of showing what features have been announced already up until this point. And what I'm hopeful will be in it. Hopefully we can share the levels we create on the internet and other users can download them and play them. It's going to create a massive YouTube community and one that I really want to be a part of. And if I think that feature is announced, and expect to see a lot of Mario Maker videos going up on the DLC YouTube channel, the DLC Gaming YouTube channel, which you'll be able to find if you head over to my blog, which is dlcentertainment.blogspot.co.uk. I'll say that again because I messed it up. dlcentertainment.blogspot.co.uk. I am hosting my blog on Blogger at the minute, but I don't have a custom domain as of yet. But later in time, I probably will, and if I do, I'll update you guys on where you can find these podcasts. So Mario Maker is probably one I am most anticipating this year. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And another game that I am really, really anticipating, but I don't know whether it's going to make an appearance because apparently it's not coming out this year and probably isn't coming out next year. And that is Legend of Zelda on the Wii U. The game was revealed a few months ago, so it is definitely happening, but we expected it to come this year and apparently it is not. And then Nintendo have also said that don't expect it to come next year either. It may do, it may not, who knows, but 2017 seems likely. So whether they'll reveal Legend of Zelda Wii U at E3, I can't confirm it. Hopefully they do, hopefully have a more of a narrow release day for it, but don't expect it. But while we're on the Legend of Zelda franchise, expect to see Hyrule Warriors on the 3DS. It has been announced, it is happening. Hyrule Warriors came out back in September 2014, I believe it was. I absolutely love that game. I'm not a fan of Dynasty Warriors, which is basically what the game is. It's Dynasty Warriors skinned with Legend of Zelda, but I really enjoyed that game. I played it all over on my Silent Oblivion 903 YouTube page, and it was pretty fun. I really, really enjoyed it. So go check it out if you're interested in it, and be sure to check out Hyrule Warriors 3DS. I'll probably be picking it up, and being able to play it again will be absolutely great. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And the last thing on Nintendo's list is their new console, which I don't know when it's going to land. They don't know either. And it's currently named NX. It will be the successor to the Wii U. There's not too many details at the minute about what it actually is going to be. There was rumours that Android was going to be its operating system on it, but apparently that's been debunked now and it's not going to happen. So whether they will showcase the NX or not at E3 remains to be seen, but hopefully they do. It'd be great to get some new details on it and maybe see what the NX is all about, or maybe what it's actually named. But to top off Tuesday, Square are going to do their thing. Also with Rise of the Tomb Raider, it's going to be probably featured by Microsoft, but also will be by Square, as Tomb Raider is a Square Enix franchise. And also expect to see Deus Ex Mankind Divided at E3 as well, which Human Revolution's probably one of the highest rated games of recent times. So hopefully Mankind Divided carries on that success and brings us a truly amazing game. Kingdom Hearts 3 is possibly going to be announced and showcased at E3. I think it's already been announced. Whether it's got showcased, I don't know. But it basically Final Fantasy meets Disney. It's absolutely great. I loved playing 2. I lost touch with the franchise after that though, but If I get a PS4 at a later date, I'll be sure to pick up Kingdom Hearts and pick up where I left off. Also expected at E3 is Final Fantasy 15. The demo dropped with a Final Fantasy Type 0 HD game earlier this year, so expect to see Final Fantasy 15 in all its glory at E3. And also announced recently was Just Cause 3, so expect to see that as well. The Just Cause series, really, really highly rated. The world is hyped about number 3, so expect to see that. And that wraps up the gaming aspect. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, actually. Getting ahead of myself there. It doesn't wrap up the gaming section at all, because apart from E3, at the minute we have the Steam sale going on for all you PC gamers out there. The Steam sale is running to June 21st. It's probably one of the biggest PC gaming events of the year. Lord Gaben hangs us upside down and shakes us for all our lunch money, and we openly give him it. We don't put up much of a fight, we just let ourselves be robbed, but in return we get lots of fantastic deals and lots of cheap games. So the Steam sale runs from there June the 11th to June the 21st. Every day you're going to get lots and lots of cheap games. You're going to get flash sales as well, which are only around for a limited time, where you'll get extra discounts, and there's a monster game you can play on there, which is basically click the screen for as long as you can, and the more clicks that get on the screen, the more deals will be unlocked over the course of a day. And while I said there's going to be games on sale throughout the whole duration, there's going to be a set amount of games that is up for the duration of the sale, along with the flash sales. But one thing to do to take advantage of the sales is to not buy from that section, the section that runs across the whole sale. Do not, by under any means, buy from that section, because you will not get the biggest discounts. Those are going to be there till the end of the sale. So take advantage of the flash sales and the extra discount daily deals. Pick the games from the main sale that you want, put them on your wish list, and keep an eye out every 12 and 24 hours for these flash sales to come up and see if that game comes in. Because if a game is 25% on the sale anyway, it could drop to 50% on the flash sale, and you don't want to pick it up for 25% and find out you could have got it cheaper. Although you can do the Steam refunds now, where if you've had the game for less than 14 days and played for less than 2 hours, you can get your money back. So you have always got that option, although it's a bit of a pain to have to go through that whole process and wait for your game to be refunded. So pick the games from the normal sale that you want, put them in your wish list, and if you haven't gone on a flash sale by the end of the sale, wait till June 21st and buy all of them then, and you'll save yourself the most money and get the best deals. So that wraps up the gaming aspect of this show. Like I said in this video, I keep saying this video, I'm too used to YouTube. This podcast, I am going to be exploring the world of gaming, music and wrestling, just to touch upon many of the bases that are going to be covered in future podcasts. So we are going to move on to music, and while E3 is currently taking place in Los Angeles for the gaming world, the Download Festival is taking place here in the UK. And as you can tell, because I'm making this podcast, I'm not a Download, and chances are if you're listening to this weekend, chances are you aren't either. But Download is the yearly biggest music festival in the UK. It's absolutely amazing. I really hope I can go one year. But this year, Kiss are headlining on Sunday, which it isn't their first time headlining, but it's truly a spectacle event. There'll be about 80 to 100,000 people watching them perform, which is really, really awesome. And also, the band that I would be looking forward to seeing if I was going to see them, and that is Motley Crue, because Motley Crue are ending their run this New Year's Eve. They are not going to play a show together under the Motley Crue banner after New Year's Eve 2015. So this is their final tour, and they are currently set to play Download Festival tomorrow, Sunday the 14th. So yeah, you haven't got much chance to see Motley Crue. Motley Crue are one of my favourite bands of all time, and it really sucks that they are calling it a day, but it's better than beating a dead horse and doing your 8th retirement tour. At least they're going to call it a day and go out and stick to it. They've already signed an agreement, a legal agreement, which means the Motley Crue cannot play together under the Motley Crue banner after that date. But for all you UK people out there who are not going to Download, luck is on your side, because you've got one more chance to go see Motley Crue. They just announced this week that they are doing a UK tour, 4-date tour starting November 2nd in Newcastle. They are doing Manchester, Birmingham and London as well. and that is going to be the final time for you UK people to go see Motley Crue, and hopefully I will be going to see them at one of those shows also. Tickets go on sale June 19th, Friday, June 19th, so next Friday. Make sure you're up early, make sure you're on the ball, make sure you get tickets because it is going to be fantastic. And for all you other people abroad in America and Canada, Mexico and all that, have a look on motley.com and see when they are playing close to you, and be sure to check them out, because if you don't, you won't be able to again. And also, speaking of Motley Crue, apparently Alice Cooper is touring with them throughout the duration of this tour, and he has said that he wants to kill Motley Crue at the end of the show on New Year's Eve. As a lot of you will know, Alice Cooper kills himself a lot during his shows through a variety of stunts, and part of his whole horror sideshow theme, Rocky Horror Show, Circus of Horrors, mix, whatever Alice Cooper does. And apparently on New Year's Eve he wants to kill Motley Crue. He wants to behead the lot of them and put the final nail in the coffin that is Motley Crue and end it once and for all. So whether that happens remains to be seen. It'd be really cool to see if it does. I hope if it happens the videos go up online, because it would be truly amazing to see. But that wraps up my music aspect for this podcast. I'm going to move on to the final topic now, which is wrestling, my third love after gaming and music. So along with Christopher Lee, the same day actually, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes passed away aged 69. It's a truly sad day for wrestling fans. Dusty Rhodes is one of the pioneers of the business and had a huge impact when the wrestling came to the mainstream in the late 70s and 80s. He was truly an iconic figure. He's the father of Cody Rhodes and Dustin Runnels, also known as Goldust in WWE. The world has lost a true great when it comes to Dusty Rhodes. He booked a lot of the shows for WCW back in the Monday Night Wars era. He also helped out a lot in the Performance Center down at NXT, and truly did play a big part in NXT, which is bringing us all the stars of tomorrow, and has already brought us big stars such as Roman Reigns, not Randy Orton, sorry. We're looking at notes for a later point. He brought us Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens, Neville, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, and many, many others have come through NXT onto the main roster, or are heading to the main roster soon. Dusty Rhodes played a big part in all of that, so it is very sad that he has passed away, and our condolences go out to the Rhodes family. But moving on to happier times, tomorrow, Sunday the 14th, is Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and what a show it's set to be. One man will reach up and grab the Money in the Bank briefcase and be guaranteed a title shot for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Set to take place in the match is Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. That's where Randy Orton came from in my early discussion on Dusty Rhodes. Kane, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus and Neville. So it's a pretty star-studded Money in the Bank show this year. I personally believe that Roman Reigns is set to take the briefcase, and I believe that somehow it will be worked. So Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins all face each other at WrestleMania 32 next March. I expect that will be the World Heavyweight Championship match. I don't know how they're going to play it yet, but expect to see it to happen. I expect it to happen. The world expects it, and chances are it will. But speaking of the other two members of The Shield, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are set to do battle for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship once again. Dean Ambrose has stolen the title from Seth Rollins. Rollins is still the holder of the title, but Dean Ambrose is the one that is carrying around the physical belt. So what will happen with them? Will Seth Rollins win and get his title back, or will Dean Ambrose walk out with the title once again, but for real this time and be the rightful holder? Who knows? But after their encounter at Elimination Chamber, John Cena and Kevin Owens are going to do battle once again. Kevin Owens beat John Cena cleanly at Elimination Chamber, which a lot of people didn't expect. A lot of people expected John Cena to win, or for it not to go down the way it did, but Kevin Owens rightfully won that match. Can John Cena get revenge and pick up the win on this Sunday? It remains to be seen. But also on the card, The New Day are taking on the primetime players with the tag team titles on the line, which I imagine will be Xavier Woods and Big E defending. Also for the Intercontinental Championship, Ryback is going to defend the title against the Big Show. So two big powerhouses are going to do battle. Who's going to come out on top? I personally think Ryback will come out on top. Going back to the predictions as well, I think Seth Rollins will win the title. I believe New Day will retain, and I think... Oh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think John Cena is going to win. I think Cena's going to win this tomorrow night. We'll wait and see. But moving on to predictions, Nikki Bella is going to defend her Divas Championship against Paige. They've been building up Naomi quite a lot recently, which I expected is going to be the person to take the belt. So I don't think Paige is going to, unless Paige drops the belt to Naomi at a later date. So I'm a bit mixed between the two of them. Either one of them can walk out, and I expect them to drop the belt to Naomi a little bit later on down the road. And on the pre-show, R-Truth is set to do battle against King Barrett, which you can watch over on the WWE Network along with the Money in the Bank event. It's free for new subscribers throughout June, so be sure to check that out. If you're not a subscriber, watch the Money in the Bank. It's free, there's no reason why not to. And if you are a subscriber, then you pay $9.99 of your hard-earned money, but you are getting value for money with these pay-per-views and with all the content available on the network. And speaking of the network, another network exclusive is set to happen on July 4th. A live show in Japan is now being turned into a network special. Brock Lesnar is going to appear at a live event for the first time in over a decade when he battles Kofi Kingston, which is a bit of an odd match to tell you the truth, Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston, but apparently Brock Lesnar was going to be in Japan anyway, so he thought he might as well wrestle on the show and get WWE to pay his expenses. So a smart business move by Brock, although I don't really like it. I'm not a huge fan of Brock, mainly because I don't like how he's just that dominant. I don't know, I think I don't think he's about the business. I don't think he loves the business quite like we'd expect him to. I believe he does love it, otherwise he wouldn't do it, but I believe it's more about the dollars and the zeros on the paycheck than the love of the sport, because he's only wrestling the show because he's already going to be there. It's not that he wanted to be on the show. If he wasn't due to be in Japan anyway come July the 4th, he wouldn't be on that show. It's only because he's going to make him money and save him money that he's doing so. But anyway, Kevin Owens is going to defend the NXT title against Finn Balor, which I expect Owens to drop the belt to Balor at the July the 4th show in Japan, which will make Kevin Owens available and will probably put him up on the main roster on a full-time basis, because I've heard from around SummerSlam up to then onwards he's going to be on a main roster schedule. So expect Kevin Owens to be leaving NXT very, very soon. Also on the card, it was originally meant to be Chris Jericho versus Finn Balor, but it's been changed to Chris Jericho versus Neville. It's going to be truly fantastic. Chris Jericho, one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. Talking Jericho, the Chris Jericho podcast is one of the main inspirations for starting this. I really got into podcasting, listening to Chris Jericho very recently, and that inspired me to do my own, which is why DLC Entertainment Podcast is now here. So you have Chris Jericho, I thank for that, and I will be looking forward to seeing him wrestle in Japan on July the 4th on the WWE Network. So I am subscribed for free at the minute with for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and chances are I'll be giving them my $9.99 so I can watch this show on the 4th of July. But also announced amongst other matches are the tag team titles are going to be on the line. The New Day versus Cesaro and Kid. Depending on the result of this Sunday, it could change, but with this card being announced recently, I'm expecting the New Day to go over in Money in the Bank and have the titles come July the 4th. But Tyson Kidd was recently injured by Samoa Joe in a dark match at SmackDown, so whether Cesaro and Kidd, I'm not expecting them to be on the card. So who knows who will take their place, but the tag team titles will be defended at July the 4th by the New Day. So that is wrestling taken care of on this podcast, which means we are at the end of the show. So that is the very first DLC Entertainment podcast complete. I've had an absolute blast doing this for you guys. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. Head on over to YouTube. So head on over to dlcentertainment.blogspot.co.uk and find the links to the channels in there. Get my channel up to 500 subscribers and I'll get a custom URL which will make it easier to check out my YouTube videos and also listen to these podcasts if you want to listen to them over on YouTube, because they'll also be going on there. So that brings me to the end of the podcasts. As you saw, this was more of a variety show just to get you into it and sort of see the sort of things I'm going to be discussing throughout the coming podcasts. It will vary week to week, episode to episode, depending on what's going on in the world, will depend on what I'm discussing. It is the reason it's called DLC Entertainment and not DLC Gaming, because it is not going to be 100% gaming, although primarily we'll be focused on it. So, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed so you get updated every time a new podcast lands. Check out the YouTube pages. Head on over to the Blogspot website so you can find those channels. Subscribe to those channels so you don't miss out on any new videos that come your way on those channels, because all of them get updated regularly. The podcast will be coming hopefully every week. I don't know what the schedule is going to be. It's going to be more of an as and when, but hopefully we set into a routine very soon. And I will see you guys in the next one. So until next time, guys, bye for now.